Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. Between now and December 16th, if you use this promo code, you will automatically be entered into a drawing where 13 winners will each win one of the Flipside Gaming Masterpiece Collection playmats. See the description below for more details. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch, where we're going to look at all things that are going on in the secondary market. Standard's a little bit slower this week, you'll notice that as we get in. However, when you look at Modern and some of the more vintage Magic cards, there's a lot happening due to the reprints that are coming from Ultimate Masters right now. Also, Commander cards are starting to heat up again. Some interesting ones are climbing. We'll look at all of those and much more. Quickly before we get started, just a fast reminder, if you check out the description below, you'll find a few ways to support the channel. Our Patreon page is down there. You're also going to find links to products on Amazon, including Ultimate Masters. And finally, Flipside Gaming still offering a promo code for our viewers. Hopefully you can save some cash while you support us. As always, thank you not only to the folks that look at those links, but to each and every one of you. I appreciate y'all. Let's get into it. Let's start off, as we always do, with the top 5 standard legal cards that have lost value this week. But first, I have one honorable mention, and that's Vraska Golgari Queen, going down 99 cents this week to 882. I thought this was interesting enough to point out because this was a big part of those Golgari mid-range decks a while back. Now those decks are doing better than ever, but part of the reason is they started to figure out what the best build was. Spoiler alert, the best build doesn't necessarily run this card. Sometimes you'll still see a copy out of a board here or there, but not as much as you were seeing a number of weeks ago. So even though that deck's doing better, this card stands to lose more value. Sometimes you will see this also in the Golgari graveyard decks, but you're not seeing as many of those anymore either. Number 5, Jade Light Ranger, down $1.01 to $12.68. Now this is still part of the Golgari mid-range deck. It's not going anywhere, but it was pretty hot recently. This card has been spiking, so it was due for a little retraction. That's what you're seeing this week. I do think it's going to come down more in the coming weeks as well. Number 4, History of Benalia, still very good in standard in a number of decks. Selesnya tokens, various Boros decks, including the Boros Weenie deck, White Weenie. However, you might have noticed ever since the Pro Tour, the decks that I mentioned haven't been doing as well recently. You've been seeing more Jeskai Control decks, the Is It Drake decks doing well, Golgari mid-range, and those other decks aren't gone. They can still put up a good result here or there, but they are seeing less play percentage-wise, and this card will continue to drop because of that. Number 3, Doom Whisperer, goes down $1.32 to $17.67. This is a great commander card. It's a great standard card in some of the control builds, and more importantly, of course, Golgari mid-range right now. So why is this going down in value? Well, it's got a high price point. Even though it's a mythic, a lot of Guilds of Ravnica packs have been open. You compare the amount of play and the price point and all the factors, and this should come down at least a little more in the coming weeks. Number 2, Vraska Relic Seeker, down $1.78 to $14.24. So everything I said about the last Vraska is true about this one as well. Golgari midrange is doing awesome, but it's doing awesome without this card nowadays. Because of that, this is going to lose a lot more value. Number 1 is Crucible of Worlds. This is the 5th Dawn version, down $2.24 to $22.32. Now, of course, this was reprinted in Magic 2019, which is why it's standard legal, but it hasn't done a whole lot in standard, just doesn't have support there. This card does see play in other formats, though, including Modern, where you might find it in the sideboard of an Azorius Control deck. Perhaps you'll find it on the sideboard of Mono Green Tron sometimes. It's in the main of the War of Invention deck, so I do think this will stabilize pretty soon, maybe close to $20, $21. If you want a cheaper copy, though, go with the Magic 2019 one. Let's move on to the top 5 standard legal cards that have gained value this week, and I do have one honorable mention again. That is Sulphur Falls, going up 38 cents to $12.78. I wanted to point this one out. It's not going up a whole lot, but it is a key part of some important mana bases right now, including Jeskai Control and Is It Drakes, and that's just standard. This sees play outside of standard as well. Number 5, Vivian Reed, going up 82 cents to $23.19, a key part of the Golgari mid-range decks, of course, and also in Selesnya tokens, so this ticks up a little bit this week, although I do think she will stabilize pretty soon. Number 4, Niv Mizzet up 86 cents to $6.07. This is part of Jeskai Control and Is It Drakes. The Is It Drakes decks will typically run this out of the board. The Jeskai Control decks, though, will run this in the main. A couple weeks ago at GP Milwaukee, Jeskai Control came in first place running 4 of these in the main. You gotta pay attention to that. Number 3, Star of Extinction, up 91 cents to $8.52. What decks do you think this is in? Yep, you're right, Jeskai Control and Is It Drakes out of the sideboard, usually 1 or 2 copies. Number 2, Sacred Foundry. Now, this is the Ravnica City of Guilds version, up $1.16 to 1948. So this is a little more expensive, but I wanted to point out that it is spiking. If you want to pick up a copy for a Boros deck, like Boros Weenie or something like that, grab the Guilds of Ravnica version. It's going to be a lot cheaper than this one, but I thought it was interesting that this one was spiking like this. This does see play outside of Standard, of course, as well. Number 1, Treasure Map, up $1.38 to 647. So this has been very popular recently in Control builds, especially, of course, Jeskai Control, where again, that winning deck a couple weeks ago in Milwaukee had 4 copies in the main. All right, let's move on to Modern. And again this week, we're going to do top 10 cards that lost value and top 10 cards that gained value because there's so much going on in the world of Modern. However, it's mostly tied into the Ultimate Masters reprintings. You know I got to do an honorable mention first, though. Manamorphose, down 228 this week to 1912. This is the Modern Masters version. There's just so many cards that are moving this week. I had to throw in extras wherever I could. But this one is very interesting in Modern because we saw a big spike from it last week, and now we're seeing some snapback. Not unusual. When somebody sees a card like this go up as much as this went up in 1 week, they start to think, do I have any of those in my boxes and my binders that I don't use? Oh, I have a few. Let me go ahead and sell them. And that's why you're seeing the retraction here. It's just trying to find its normal price point as the market evens out. Now, with that being said, the card's seeing a lot of play, and the fact that it wasn't reprinted in Ultimate Masters is going to keep this relatively strong for a while, I have no doubt. Now, you know this card from a lot of big decks like Storm and Modern, even Jeskai Ascendancy, which has been popular recently. You'll find this in Griselbrand, but it's all about Arclight Phoenix because this card has really gotten that much better thanks to the inclusion of that card in Modern. As a matter of fact, you'll find this in various Phoenix builds, and that could be anything from Izzet Phoenix to Hollow Phoenix to Mardu Phoenix and so on. This card is going to see a lot of play in the coming months. Number 10, Horizon Canopy from Future Sight goes down 245 to 79.99, and of course we talked about this last week when the card was going up. A lot of people want this version of the card because it's got that unique card frame, the unique art. Future Sight cards are getting harder and harder to find in good condition. They had a little bit of a lower print run during that time period in Magic compared to other Modern sets. Put it all together, and this is always a hot card. Now, it's seeing some retraction this week, which is not unusual, again, because of the spike that happened last week. This card will go down a little more, probably, and then go up again at some point in the future. It sees playing a lot of big decks, obviously. Humans, Banned Spirits, Hardened Scales Affinity, Hexproof, just to name a few. There's others, of course, in Modern and Legacy, too. Number 9, Life from the Loam. Very popular card right now. This is the Modern Masters version, though, going down 289 to 2304. So even though it's doing really well, Modern Dredge is very hot right now. Vintage Dredge is always solid too. Legacy, it sees playing a lot of different decks like Golgari Depths, 4-color Loam, lands. Even with all the play this card's seeing, though, it can't overcome the Ultimate Masters reprint right now. It's being reprinted in that set, so this card has softened up. Number 8, Engineered Explosives from Modern Masters, down 296 to 57.99. So much like the previous card, this is being reprinted as a rare in Ultimate Masters, so of course it's going to be going down in value. This was going down in value a little bit even before that reprint was announced, though, just because percentage of play-wise, this card was down slightly, but it still sees a ton of play out of Modern and Legacy sideboards, more so in Modern, but definitely a little bit in Legacy, and also it's a main deck card in Ironworks combo in Modern. Number 7 is Vegevine, down 339 to 29.99. This is being reprinted in Ultimate Masters as a Mythic, but also it's losing value due to the fact that the Bridgevine deck is losing some favor right now in Modern to the more classic Dredge build. Ever since Guilds of Ravnica came along and brought us Creeping Chill, that classic build of Dredge has just gotten a little bit better. Now, I do want to point out, though, this is still very healthy in Vintage in those survival decks. Number 6, Celestial Colony goes down $3.97 to $40.95, a classic Modern Control card that is being reprinted at Rare in Ultimate Masters. Because of that, it will continue to lose value in the coming weeks. Number 5, Noble Hierarch from Modern Masters 2015 goes down 401 to $65.22. Of course, a big Modern staple here sees playing Humans, Banned Spirits, Infect, many other Modern decks too, as well as in Legacy and Vintage. Another card that's only losing value due to the reprinting that's coming in Ultimate Masters. This will be a rare there. Number 4, Goryo's Vengeance, down $4.25 to $34.80. This is also being reprinted in Ultimate Masters as a rare. This is a key part of Griselbrand decks. Number 3, Ruined Halo, goes down $4.75 to $21.99. Now, this was a Shadowmoor rare and is losing a lot of value ever since the announcement came that it was going to be printed at rare in Ultimate Masters. And it was just a hard-to-get card in good condition because Shadowmoor had the lower print run, much like Future Sight. However, it doesn't see a ton of play. You'll find this out of sideboards in Modern sometimes if the deck is really strong in white, like a mono white Martyrs deck, for example. Number 2, Liliana of the Veil. Innistrad is down $2.97 to $80.69. Modern Masters 2017 going down $5.39 to $80. Of course, this is being reprinted in Ultimate Masters as a Mythic. It does see play in numerous Modern decks. A couple of the big ones right now are Golgari Midrange and Jund. Also sees Legacy play. A big one there is 4-color Loam, for example. And even with all that play and the fact that it's being reprinted at Mythic and not Rare, the card is still losing value and will lose some more. Number 1, Snapcaster Mage from Modern Masters 2017, down $5.50 to $60.52. This will be reprinted again at Mythic and Ultimate Masters. Card sees a lot of play though, obviously. Modern decks, you'll find this in various control builds, Grixis Death Shadow, among others. This also sees a lot of Legacy and Vintage play. So clearly there was a lot of influence from Ultimate Masters on that list, and if you want to hear more of my thoughts on the cards and when you should think about picking up singles and such, I did a video about that yesterday, another Market Watch video. I'll link it at the end of this one if you'd like to check it out. But for now, let's move on to the top 10 Modern legal cards that have gained value this week. This time I actually have 3 honorable mentions, and the first one is a foil. Chancellor of the Tangle goes up $9.23 to $11. Now, the not-foil version didn't move this week. Why is this one spiking? Well, first let me say that I typically don't like to talk too much about foils on here because when you're looking at online data, you don't always have a lot of copies of certain foils out there, so if someone buys like 1 or 2 copies, it could spike the market, and I don't want to give out bad data. So you got to be careful about that when you follow foils. Now, this one spiked really aggressively. Now, maybe it's just weird data, but up $9.23 to $11, I felt like we had to talk about it. And really, this card actually is seeing some Modern play now in a Goblin build. That could be part of the reason. Maybe there weren't a lot of foil copies online. That deck started to get a little more popular. People picked up a few copies here or there, and it kind of spiked the marketplace. And once people realize that and they start selling their copies, it will go right back down. That's very possible. Also, recently, Saffron Olive did feature this card in a Goblin Charbelcher deck. So sometimes when he shows an interesting build, that can also move the market. Maybe that happened here too. My next honorable mention is Liliana the Last Hope, going up $1.15 this week to $49.97. I've talked a lot about this card on the channel, and I tell people all the time, buy. If you don't have copies, get it before it gets too high. This is only going to climb. Will it get reprinted at some point? Sure, it will get reprinted, but we just don't know when. Ultimate Masters supposedly is the last Masters set for the foreseeable future. If that's the case, where does this fit in exactly? And at $50 right now, who knows, by the time it finally gets reprinted, maybe it's an $80 card. It could go down with a reprint, but it might not go back down to $50. So this is one you definitely want to keep an eye on. It sees a lot of play in Modern as well as Legacy. Right now in a lot of big Modern decks, especially Golgari Midrange and Jund, to name a couple. And my last honorable mention is Thing in the Ice, going up $1.22 to $12. Now this spiked last week, and it continues to stay at least a little bit warm. Although I will say it has lost value in the last 24 hours or so, and if you wait a week, maybe we'll see this on the down list due to a retraction. Now this card's been good in Modern in a number of builds, including Blue Moon and Storm. However, recently it got hot due to the Is It Phoenix decks. Number 10 is Cyclonic Rift, goes up $1.34 to $16.99. This is the Modern Masters 2017 version. This sees a little play in Mono Blue Tron in Modern, but I do think this is going up maybe more so because of Commander. It's a big Commander card. The Command Zone talk about it all the time. Number 9, Verdict Catacombs from Zendikar goes up $1.51 to $56.99. Now, all of the fetch lands are getting hot right now, especially the enemy color ones, which are a little bit harder to find due to the fact that we don't know when they're going to be reprinted. They're not in Ultimate Masters, and we don't know where they're going to come from. So people are starting to jump on and buy them if they don't have them. With that being said, this one is especially hot because Golgari colors are also doing well in Modern, not just Standard right now. Golgari Midrange and Jund are getting more popular. A lot of that has to do with Assassin's Trophy pushing those decks a little bit. This is also found in Infect, which is another popular deck among many other builds. Number 8, Amulet of Vigor, goes up $1.52 to $22.09. Of course, this will be found in the Amulet Titan decks. Number 7 from 7th edition, it's Ensnaring Bridge, up $1.58 to $41.72. You'll find this in War of Invention, as well as Burn and some others. Sees Legacy play as well. Number 6, what? Life from the Loam from Ravnica goes up $1.63 to $28.99. This is a card that we just saw going down, the Modern Masters version anyway, a few moments ago. How is this one going up? Well, it just shows you how good Dredge is right now. Even though this is being reprinted as a rare in Ultimate Masters, there are people willing to pay a premium for this card if they're trying to build that dredge deck and get it ready for a tournament. Because of that, this particular copy actually goes up a little this week. Number 5 is Misty Rainforest, another one of these fetch lands. Zendikar up $1.42 to $47.59. Modern Masters 2017 up $1.73 to $48. This is a key part of a lot of mana bases, including Bant Spirits. Number 4 is another repeat with Horizon Canopy up $1.84 to $62. This is the iconic Masters version. So, of course, we saw Future Sight normalizing this week and going down. This one is actually going up because of all the play that I mentioned when we talked about the Future Sight one. Number 3, Surgical Extraction from New Phyrexia goes up $2.08 this week to $34.99. This card spiked really aggressively last week, as well as the Modern Masters 2015 version. The Modern Masters 2015 version has stabilized a little bit. It went up slightly this week, but this one is still climbing aggressively. I do think it should stabilize relatively soon, but it is seeing a lot of sideboard play right now in Modern. Number 2, Jace the Mind Sculptor up $4.03 to $94.99. This is the Masters 25 version. This is interesting. We've been talking about Jace recently because the Eternal Masters version was going up in value, getting a little bit closer to the World Wake version. Now this one is starting to follow and catch up with the others because it had a real low price point. I mean, a few weeks ago, you could have found this easily for $85, $90. Now it's up to $95, just getting closer to the other ones. I think it's just simply normalizing now that we know how much play it's getting and the market's starting to absorb these newer Masters 25 copies. Number 1, Blood Moon, the original copy from the Dark, goes up $7.41 this week to $73.25. Obviously, if you want to just play with the card, you can find cheaper copies of it, but there is something about that original one from the Dark. Now, this card, we know what it does. It's awesome in Modern and Legacy, but recently it's had more attention on it because of some of these new deck builds. That Goblin deck that I mentioned earlier is one of them. Also, the Runaway Red deck is another one. Now, those decks do need to put up some good results going forward if they want to maintain, but at least right now, people are looking at them. Okay, let's move on to our Vintage Spotlight, and there's a lot of craziness going on. Some of it tied in with Ultimate Masters, some of it's not. Let's just jump in. Containment Priest is going down. This is a card that sees a lot of Vintage play, a little Legacy play too. Down $2.16 to $16.95 because it is being reprinted as a rare in Ultimate Masters. Next is another card that sees Legacy and Vintage play. Leovold, Emissary of Trest goes down $2.50 to $22.40. Another card that will be reprinted in Ultimate Masters, but this will be a Mythic. Here's a Vintage card, Demonic Tutor, which is being reprinted as well in Ultimate Masters as a rare though. 3 versions we're going to talk about today. Revised going down $1.09 to $33.99. Unlimited down $2.03 to $79.94. Yeah, even Unlimited going down. Now, is that tied into the reprint or is that Unlimited being unlimited? Who knows? Dual Deck Divine versus Demonic goes down $2.71 to $41.63. So the card is going down slightly. Definitely the reprint is having an impact. Karakas. This sees Legacy and Vintage play, and this is being reprinted as a Mythic in Ultimate Masters. Eternal Masters down $3 to $51.99. Legends going down $3.38 to $86.36. Back to basics. This one's interesting. As he's playing Legacy, sometimes you'll find it in Miracles, for example, many times in the main. And this is going down $15.74 this week to $59.99. This is one to keep an eye on. I do think it's going to go down more because of its reprinting at Rare and Ultimate Masters, but the new version does have new art. It is Therese Nielsen art, but this original art is also pretty striking, and I do think some people might still prefer this one. And that combined with the fact that Urza Saga cards are sometimes hard to find in good condition, this one won't completely bottom out. Now, if you're interested in a foil, there's only one show in town, and that's going to be the new copy from Ultimate Masters, and those are going for around $200 right now. Although once packs get cracked, I would expect that price to come down a little bit. Those are the cards going down because of Ultimate Masters. Let's look at some cards going up. Grim Monolith is still going up $1.16 to $111.24. This is on the reserve list. See some Legacy play in those Eldrazi builds. Mana Drain is going up. This is the iconic Masters version, going up $1.46 to $56.90. Of course, this does see play in Vintage, but it's also an interesting Commander card to have a copy of. Force of Will from Eternal Masters going up $1.78 to $96.94. I do think part of the reason that this and Mana Drain are going up now is because they were not reprinted in Ultimate Masters, and there is that question mark out there, when will they be reprinted? This, of course, sees a lot of Legacy and Vintage play. Okay, you knew Unlimited had to be on here, right? We have an Unlimited Fork up $22.50 to $150. This is on the reserve list, but it did get reprinted in Revised if you're looking for a cheaper copy. Unlimited cards are still hot. You're going to see a few more here before this is over. We'll continue into reserve list territory with Mishra's Workshop. This is going up $323.68 this week to $1,999. That's quite a jump. We know this sees vintage play in workshop decks as well as other places, but why is it spiking this week? Well, first off, reserve list cards do tend to be a little spiky from time to time, but what's happening here is if you look at the marketplace this week, there were some additional near mint copies added, and because of that, it just pushed the data over a little bit to a higher price point. If those get sold soon or taken down, then of course the price will retract back to where it was, so just keep that in mind. Mox Opal from Unlimited. Our last 3 cards are going to be all Unlimited reserve list cards. As a matter of fact, they're all going to be Power 9. I usually don't talk about Power 9 because they don't tend to get really spiky percentage-wise, but this week was different. So this one goes up $899.52 to $3,024.50. Why is that? Well, it looks like somebody put a copy on the marketplace, which was actually a real solid near mint copy. Doesn't look like it's any sort of market manipulation or anything like that, but that near mint copy is just worth more than all the other copies that are out there, and you're seeing a data skew because of it. Much like the last card, if that listing goes away, things will kind of return back to normal. Black Lotus will just continue on. This goes up $1,249.50 to $7,862. It'd be nice to have one of those, huh? Well, this card is going up again because of just some weird market data. There was a high-grade copy added to the marketplace, and that's why you're seeing such a price jump. Again, when that listing goes away, things will normalize. And finally, Time Twister. This one goes up $1,305.82 to $3,399.48. Wow, that is another huge spike. Now, this one feels a little more like market manipulation, maybe not intentional, but there were some near mint copies that were listed at an extremely high price. Now, maybe it's somebody throwing a price out there and hoping to get an offer or something like that. Or maybe they're trying to push the market data up because they have another copy that they want to sell at a higher than normal price. Okay, back to the real world. Our Commander Spotlight. Cards we might be able to afford for the most part. Let's get into it. Phyrexian Altar is going down. It's being reprinted, of course, at Rare and Ultimate Masters. You can find the Invasion copy now a lot cheaper. $5.85 cheaper this week to $44.99. Chromium. Okay, now you're going to see something interesting. There appears to be a buyout on Gold Legends cards going on right now. Now, some of them are on the reserve list, some aren't. I'll point it out as we go through. This is just the first one. This goes up $1.10 to $34.39. Now, this is not on the reserve list. It was reprinted in Chronicles, as a matter of fact. Sliver Legion. Now, this goes up $1.14 to $49.35. Great commander card. Awesome for kitchen table slivers as well. Mana Crypt. This does see play in Vintage, but I do feel like this is a very strong commander card too. Up $1.15 to $136.45 this week for the Eternal Masters version. Teferi's Protection goes up $1.77 to $30. Now, this plateaued for a little while, even though it was climbing due to the fact that the Judge promo was announced. Then people realized Judge promos don't actually make the price of the original cards go down, so now it's on the rise again. This is a really cool commander card, and we just don't know when it's going to be reprinted. Crown of Doom. This goes up $1.97 to $3.09. This is great in the Xancha builds, and I'm a little surprised this wasn't going up in price before now, but I think people are finally catching on. Wave of Reckoning from Arcadian Masks goes up $1.97 to $3.50. This was reprinted in Commander 2016 if you can't find this copy of the card, but this is another really solid commander card, works well in Doran as well as Arcades decks, and it feels like it just dried up in the marketplace. I'm not going to say it was a buyout necessarily. There just might not have been a lot of copies to begin with, and somebody just bought them, and you're seeing the price rise because of it. Tetsao Umezawa goes up $2.20 to $71.99. This is a reserve list Gold Legends card. Like I mentioned, it appears like there's a little bit of a buyout. Maybe it's a light buyout of some of these Gold Legends, but this is just one of many we're going to see today. And this is a character that actually defeated Nicol Bolas. Here's another reserve list Gold Legends card. Rogar of Kirkeep goes up $2.28 this week to $41.67. Palladium Moors is going up $2.38 to $24.69. Now, this one is not on the reserve list and did get reprinted in Chronicles if you're looking for a cheap copy. Rasputin Dreamweaver, another reserve list gold card from Legends, and it's a pretty interesting commander card. It goes up $3 to $143.33 this week. Aiden Oakenshield, another reserve list gold card from Legends, goes up $3.30 to $79.89. Tolarian Entrancers goes up $3.99 to $7.99 this week, and this is a pretty big percentage spike. This is a reserve list Weatherlight card, and yeah, it's kind of a fun commander card. I'm not going to say it's amazing or anything, but you could play it with like Nemesis Mask and have a good time for sure. But I don't think that's what's going on here. This feels like a buyout. I don't know why exactly, but maybe somebody thought they wanted to buy out a Weatherlight reserve list card to see what happens. Well, this is what would happen. And I do think once people see this, they'll find copies to sell pretty quickly. Expropriate. This card has been very hot recently. Great commander card, going up 456 this week to 3150. Not too long ago, they talked about this one on the Command Zone podcast, and that may have pushed the price a little bit too. Okay, last one of these gold cards. Vivictus Asmati goes up 705 to 3344. This is not on the reserve list and did get reprinted in Chronicles. You know it's a big week. We even have a Pauper Spotlight. I have one card for you. Are you going to guess what it is? You'd be wrong. It's not Oubliette. It's Mud Brawler Cohort. Up 23 cents to $1.63. Very popular right now in the Goblin builds. Alright, with that being said, that is the Market Watch for this week. We'll continue to keep you posted with Market Watches as things develop with Ultimate Masters. But until next time, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon and have a great day.